4K, that's right, 4K. Sony A6300 today. This is in 4K. Hopefully the editing will go well. My computer's a bit old and tired, a bit like me. I've used this camera for a few other videos. You may or may notice a difference, but only in 1080. I've never done 4K and uploaded it. So we're gonna see how this goes. I know this 6300 came out like 3 years ago, I think, 2016-ish, around then maybe. It's now 2019, but it is still good to buy in 2019. Is it still worth it? The price has come down, so that's good. With the recent release of the 6400, but that's obviously more pricey. So is this still a good buy in 2019? Goodbye. But we will see. Alright, so I'm going to test out the video side of it and the still side of it, and we'll take a look together. Anyway, enough of intro, let's just get into it. Alright, so the lens I'm using on this is the 16-50, which is has optical steady shot. That's the OSS right there. It is a 3.5 to 5.6 f-stop. Diameter is 40.5, so it's a small diameter. So if you pull this off, you see the lens right there. I need to clean it. And on the back there, we have a lightning button. I'm joking. We have a flash button, a menu button. They have the focus controls there, how the autofocus and all that works. FN button, which is programmable. It actually brings up a menu as default, which is great. I'll show you that in a sec. We have obviously a dial there with the ISO settings, exposure compensation, drive mode and timer, and the display mode, and we button in the middle. All these are programmable. We have the play button to switch to the play mode, and we have a C2 button which is customizable. In play mode it acts as the delete button, which I think you can also program that as well. We have the main dial on the top, which has the usual suspects on it. We have the MSAP settings, auto settings, scene select, panoramic mode, movie mode with dedicated movie mode on this camera. Well, we have 1 and 2, which are profiles, which you can set yourself. We have a dial here which can be set again, can be changed, but it's by default it's for the f-stops. And we have another programmable C1 button, the shutter button, and the on-off switch. Around the front we have infrared receiver and the focus light there. We have microphone holes at the top of the lens there, you can just see them at the top. This side is nothing except for the near field communication. This side we have a door. What's behind the door? Take a look. We have a microphone in. That's a big deal because a lot of the other Sony mirrorless cameras don't have those. At least the 5 series didn't, I don't think. And don't think the 6000 does either. We have a micro HDMI for outputting your video, and we have a micro USB for charging the battery internally or powering the camera without a battery. And I presume you can also transfer data. I'm not sure, but I think you might be able to transfer the SD card's data to a computer that way. Don't quote me on that. It does say multi, so technically it's multi-function, so I guess that is true. There's 3 dots there. I'm thinking they might also be for microphone. There's nothing else, but I don't know. I think it could be. There's also Wi-Fi in this camera built in, so you can transfer your photos to your phone or computer over Wi-Fi. At the bottom here, we have obviously the tripod hole, or mounting hole, the tripod mounting hole, and we have the door for the battery and the SD card. You can see the SD card squashed in there next to the battery. Don't like the placement on that. It's not the easiest thing to get out. You've got to push it in, and then you've got to try and grab it with 2 hands, or 2 fingers I mean, out there. Keep in mind that the black side with the metal contacts have got to be facing the battery when you put it in, so it slots in like that, and the battery's removed by pressing the blue tab and out it pops. So there's the battery. This is a third-party one. I'm having no issues at all using third-party batteries here, RAV Power. These batteries are the Sony NP-FW50 batteries, and this particular one is made in China. It's 1100 milliamp hours, the same as the original Sony one that came with it. and the 7.4 volts. So yeah, it's worth getting a couple of these because it's not the best on battery life, this camera. We've got to put it in with the contacts facing the SD cards. You can see the gap in there. So slide that in, and that's it. The battery door, I like this. The battery door has a little compartment you can pull out. So if you wanted to get yourself a dummy battery to plug in externally, of course you need a gap for the wire to come out of the door to plug into like a power bank or external battery. So that removes there so that the wire can come out. So that is great. I like that feature. Alright, so the menu system on this camera, I can see how some people can say it's kind of cumbersome, but I actually quite like it. So this is the main screen, and we're going to go into the image settings, which is the first thing you're shown. It's showing up as 24 megapixels. You've got the choice of 12 or 6. Bit of a strange choice there, big gaps. The aspect ratio is 3.2. If you change it to 6.9, you don't get 24 megapixels anymore, of course, because it's now shorter, tall-wise, if that makes any sense. So you've got 20 megapixels, 10 and 5.1 for some reason. So I tend to keep it at 32 because 3.2 because you can always crop it in post. The movie settings are found on page 2 of the first menu. So you've got the file formats, you've got 4K. If you select 4K, you have the choices of 25 frames per second and 100 megs per second bitrate, or 25 frames per second at 60 megs bitrate. If you are using NTSC, which you can swap by going up to the top and then going across, I think to the end, and then going down, and on the screen 3 there, we've got NTSC and PAL selector. You will have to format the card, so make sure you clean any pictures off that you want to keep before you do it, because it will erase them. You can switch to NTSC if you wanted to. And in NTSC you have options of 24 frames per second in 4K. XAVCS HD, you get the option of 50 frames per second at 50 megs, 25 frames at 50 megs, or 100 frames per second at 100 megs, or 100 at 60 megs. If in NTSC you get 60, 24 and 120, I believe, frames per second for the bottom one. In AVCHD you got 50i at 24, 50i at 17, 50p at 28, 25p at 24 and 25p at 17. If in NTSC you get 60, 24 frames per second. And lastly, in MP4 format you get 1080 50 frames, 1080 at 25 frames, or 720 at 25 frames. In NTSC you'll have 60, 24 and 24, maybe I think you have 30 as well, 30 frames per second. You have more options in NTSC. One setting I like on this camera is the autofocus drive speed. When you're shooting video and moving the camera around, this basically controls how fast the autofocus will shift from, say, a far object to a close object and back. You can have it set to normal, fast or slow. So if you're doing slow pans, you might want to put it on slow. If you're doing a vlog type, you might want to put it on fast. Otherwise, just keep it on normal. I'm going to put it on fast and show you the difference there. Okay, automatic focus drive speed on fast, so it switches fast there. Sensitivity is on normal. Automatic focus on normal speed. Pretty decent for most. Automatic focus drive speed on slow. Much more fluid, good for the slow pan shots. Automatic thing on slow, but the sensitivity is on fast or high, forget which. Automatic focus on normal, the sensitivity on high. Automatic focus drive speed on fast, sensitivity on high. Look at that. Good. You can also have dual video on or off, which basically means that you can record in 4K, for example, and it will automatically be recorded in MP4 as well. So you can use them as like proxy files if your computer, while video editing, can't handle the big files. Drive mode, we've got bracket settings, we've got all the usual kind of settings and then some. Flash modes, we got red eye reduction, focus mode, ISOs and autofocus, modes, HDR, shape, style, effect, zoom, soft skin, all you kind of vloggers and selfies out there. A lot of settings, as you can see. I'm not going to go through them and read them all out, but there is a lot. I will keep pressing this button as we go through. You got lens compensation as well. I wanted to make a point on that. You can micro adjust the focusing for the lens. Can't on this lens though, so I think it's because it's a power zoom lens. I think it's only for prime lenses you can do that. One of the other cool features I like is the magnifying focus setting. So basically when you turn the ring on the lens, it zooms in and out on this particular lens because it's a zoom lens. But if you switch to manual focusing, which I've set to the C2 button, I get the peek in come up on the screen, and also when I turn the ring now, instead of zooming, it actually magnifies the image so I know I can get a nice sharp focus, and there it is with the peek in. Now when I hit the shutter release, which I've turned to silent, I can now zoom in and see that my focus is perfect. Never miss focus again. Of course this is a bit harder on moving objects, but on still objects, great stuff. So the optical steady shot is optional. You can actually turn it off if you wanted to. So in photo mode, what happens is if you wiggle the camera a little bit like this, and then you half press the shutter button, it kind of stops the wiggling. As you can see there, it's not really it's barely moving at all. You can see it's nice fluid movement rather than, you know, shaking. So if I zoomed right in there, you can see I got some wiggle going on like that. If I half press the button, it sort of stops that. Look at that. There's a slight movement there. Obviously I'm moving it quite a bit, but hardly anything compared to when I'm not pressing the button at all. If I shake it a little bit, hold the button down, look at that. So that's how that works. It's in lens stabilization, not in body. When you're in video mode, this activates straight away, so it's always activated. You haven't got to half press to the button. It's always on steady shot. You can see there it's kind of like fluid movements, not shake. So that's what you want for video. You do have audio input on this camera, so you have the option to record audio or not, and you have the audio record levels, which you can see peek in there with my voice. So you have full volume being 31 for some reason, that's a bit random. So you can take it all the way down and have barely anything if you wanted to. If you're recording somewhere that's got a real loud noise, maybe construction or something like that, you could turn it right down so you don't get too much distortion. So I usually leave it around 20. So it's kind of it's peaking in the middle there, so you've got a lot of room. You can always bring up the gain in post. You've also got a wind reduction, which I haven't tested really. Usually wind reduction features aren't that good on cameras, especially when using the inbuilt microphones, because there's no real way of covering them with a dead cat. Alright, so I've done the test shots now and I can't be bothered to show you, so bye bye. Only joking, here they are. Alright, let's test drive. This is movie mode, MP3, MP4 even, 25 frames per second, looking okay. Excuse the missing part of my garden. I'll get around to that next summer I think now. Alright, so this is AVC HD, 25 frames per second. So this is the mode my other camera records at. My main camera, which is also a Sony, so I use for all my videos. Hopefully it should be just as good. Right, this is XAVC SHD, 25 frames per second. I'm doing them all 25 because my videos are always rendered at 25, so it's pointless me going to 50 frames per second because you'll only see it in 25 anyway. But I think I will record one at 100 frames per second, and do a slow-mo just so you can have a sense of that. We'll see. Right, the big one, XAVC S 4K, 25 frames per second. 25 frames per second is the only option for 4K, but if you're in the States you get 24 frames per second. It's looking good. The detail in the trees and all that. I don't know whether I'll upload this video as 4K. Maybe I will. But even if I don't, you should see extra clarity in the image anyway. It'll downscale it to HD, but it should look a little clearer than the regular HD. Alright, XAVC S HD, 25 frames per second, and this is S-Log 2 actually. So this is your movie shooting mode. In my viewfinder here I can see the exposure compensation changing visually. Let's get over there. I hope it doesn't change that dramatically on the actual recorded video, because it's quite noticeable. I don't know if you can turn the exposure compensation off, or the automatic exposure compensation. It keeps going up and down by itself. I'll try that. Okay, to set the exposure compensation to manual, you have to have it in auto ISO, and it's not telling me the ISO reading that it's picked, but it seems very bright. But it's probably better than my choice, which was 800. It did seem quite dark, but the sun is out, so you still saw a change there when I panned over here. See if it goes when I pan it back. I don't know. But this is S-Log anyway. S-Log 2. Alright, so this is S-Log as well, so hopefully that's giving you a good view of what the footage is like. Pretty good from what I can see. I have to take a better look when I look at the edit later. Let's check that out.
Struggling to find focus there. But it is really low light, I mean really low. Look at this. Only light source of those LEDs. Like it's that dark that I can't see the settings on my camera. I can't see the buttons. It's not terrible. 2500 ISO and 3.5 f-stop and 1 in 25 shutter speed. Can't see on the screen that there's any noise, but we'll see when we play it on the computer if there's any noise in the blacks. Alright, I'm not going to compare video with the Nikon because the Nikon is not very good with video, so it's no point. But we'll have a look at some stills now and check out how they fare up against each other.
Alright, so in conclusion, the 6300 is a great camera, a bit of an all-rounder, you know, images, video, HD, and 4K video. So if you're looking for an all-in-one kind of, perhaps you want to vlog, if you're a vlogger, you know, and your budget isn't that high, I would say definitely go for an A6300 used. You can get them on Amazon for about 400 to 500, and that usually includes a cage or lens or extra batteries and stuff, so you can get them second hand at a good price. Would I buy it brand new? Probably not, because the A6400 has come out and it's roughly the same price, so like about £100 more. So I would, if you buy them brand new, I would definitely go 6400. They have better autofocus. Not that the 63 has bad autofocus, it's good autofocus, but the 64 is even better with face detection. It's upgraded face detection and eye detection and stuff. So apparently it's really good. I haven't played with it myself, but I will be looking to get one soon. It also has improved battery life slightly, and it also has improved overheating. if that makes sense. With the 6300, recording in 4K will overheat the camera eventually. Some people have managed to get like an hour out of it by using camera cages, you know, to distribute the heat and whatever. Little tips and tricks, you can look online for that. Without the camera cage or anything and shooting outside in the sun, the most I've got out is like 11 minutes, and then it overheats. The symbol will come up on the screen first after about 7 to 10 minutes, and then eventually the camera will shut down to cool down, which obviously isn't ideal if you want to shoot a lot of 4K stuff. So keep that in mind. If you're just happy to shoot 1080p though, great. There's no overheating issues there at all, no problems there with the Sony A6300. So if you're not looking at 4K anyway, you just want to do maybe here and there, do a little 4K shooting, 6300, get a second hand though. You can get it on eBay, like I said, for like 400 quid or dollars or whatever. Let me just swap hands because my hand is aching. Yeah, but otherwise I'd go for the 64 if you're looking at buying brand new, because I don't see why you wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense to buy the 63 at only £100 cheaper, unless that £100 is really that big a deal, if whatever. So yeah, so if I've missed anything out, let me know in the comments below. Ooh, forgot about that. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, thumb it up, sub it, share it, like it. You know what to do. I'm gonna leave it out. Peace.